Deena, it's wonderful to have you on Floor Talk. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Judy.
Deena, Lux Capital invests in areas you call matter that matters. Tell me about this philosophy that drives your investment decisions and why it's so important in today's landscape.
Absolutely. You know, we have a couple of cool catchphrases about our portfolio. One of them certainly is matter that matters, and another is that we love to invest in companies that are turning the impossible into the inevitable. And that was really one of the things that drew me into Lux. Whether we're investing in health tech, in biotech, in defense, in AI, and consumer, if you look across the portfolio, you'll see a thread, which is entrepreneurs who are absolutely mission-driven, investing in incredibly challenging concepts and taking them from that concept to the inevitable commercial reality and hopefully one day ringing this bell.
Now, you mentioned healthcare. It's one of Lux's core focuses. How do you identify overlooked areas in the sector, and what impact do you hope these investments will have on advancing human health?
We have quite a few companies that kind of meet that criteria in the portfolio. And as I'm sure you know, women's health is a major area of focus and one in which we've been investing for quite a few years, and we've deployed well over $100 million into this space. I'm on the board of companies like Maven Clinic and A-Life, Summer Health, and quite a few others. And we started investing really before the category took off. And the New York Stock Exchange has hosted a Women's Health Summit, and so I know that you know how important this area is. But really for generations, it was an area that did not receive a lot of attention on the R&D side, and certainly on the venture side as well. And we know, of course, that not only are 50% of the population comprised of women, but 80% of the decisions and the dollars in healthcare are actually controlled by women. So we saw an incredible opportunity to invest in this space, and it's taking off, and it's really still early days. And so whether you're investing in maternal health or menopause or pediatrics, I think we're really just getting started.
Now, let's pivot. You're not only a general partner at Lux Capital, but you're also an author. A children's book isn't something you hear about very often from venture capitalists. So tell me about the book and where the idea came from.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's very common. Certainly was a very new territory for me when the idea first came. So I have 3 kids, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And when my 9-year-old was in preschool, I was invited to her preschool's career fair to explain what I do for a living, which is a tall order, even to explain to very well-educated adults what venture capital and entrepreneurship is, let alone to kids ages 2 to 4. So I do what I always do when I have a complicated topic with my kids, and I turned to books and I looked to see what was out there. And although children's literature has come quite a long way since I was a child, there was nothing out there that I could turn to that was really inspiring this notion of entrepreneurship. So I ended up coming up with my own little activity. I bought a unicorn chia pet, which I thought was quite funny, to have them turn those seeds into a full-blown unicorn. And I read a couple of different books, but I decided then and there that one day I would write this book and that it would have a character that was someone that I and my kids could resonate with. And then COVID hit, and it was that first winter of 2020 where I actually wrote the first draft of this book.
Okay, so tell me now, what does success look like for Leena Mo, CEO?
Well, you'll have to buy the book to see what happens. But honestly, success for me is already happening. It's seeing videos and photos of children all over the country reading this book. You write something and you don't know if it's actually going to resonate with kids. As a parent, it certainly resonated with my children. It certainly did. But kids love it. It's a book that I hope is inspiring the next generation of builders. I've heard from a lot of folks that it's wonderful, for their daughters. But I have 2 sons, and I wrote this book for them too. It's ultimately a story about a young child who has a problem that she seeks to solve, who builds and invents a solution and turns it into a big business. And I hope that that's inspiring for an entire generation of children.
So what's next for Leena Mo?
We'll see. We'll see. I think that there are so many aspects of the story that we can double click on in the future. There's an investor in the book who's named Miss Irma, who gives Leena her first check. And there's a whole story that could be written just about that. And as I told Lynn, one day I want to see Leena ringing that bell on the New York Stock Exchange. So I expect that might be in a future sequel.
All right, well, Deena, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thanks for having me, Judy.